1. Hello there. Yes, we are geeks assembled, and we have gathered here again to talk about this Saturday's Doctor Who episode that has just been, which is Lie of the Land, and it's the final of the three-parter, which included Extremis and Pyramid at the End of the World. So let's go straight over to Alex and Susan, see what they had to say about Lie of the Land. And just your opening thoughts, by the way, just to begin with.
Yeah, I did like the episode. It's an enjoyable romp. I was only surprised about 3%. People go, really? But yeah, it was a good episode, and the only other sort of complaint I have is that you still don't know who the villains are or why they did it, and they seem to have a very, very quick resolution. But other than that, I enjoyed the episode.
The monks, the hey, were the monkeys. They were, they looked, their whole characterization was like the silence. And so, I was kind of, but let me just tell you what I really liked about it. I really liked the amazing acting chops of Peter Capaldi. He went from maniacal, or he went from really like a televangelist into the maniacal, into the Law and Order kind of. His characterization of the Doctor went everywhere this week, and it was so intense. And so, of course, because of that, Bill had to have her characterization be, up there too. So Pearl Mackie, what a great actress she has turned out to be. What a great companion Bill is. And Nardole, he had some really fun but serious moments. So I'm really enjoying this series. So
And the Stargate nod.
And the Stargate nod. The
yes. I hope you weren't going to forget that. And let's go to Kevin. Let's see what Kevin had to say about this episode.
Well, me, all right.
Yeah. Kevin, you're the only one called Kevin in here, I think. Anybody else called Kevin?
I really like this episode. From the fake regeneration to the ending. Yeah, it was very surprising how the Doctor got to, how Peter Capaldi got to play the Doctor again in this episode, and going all the way with this acting. Wow, just wow. And Pearl Mackie. Pearl Mackie reminds me of Martha, really, in this episode. And yeah, the fake regeneration was very cool. I was like, oh my god, we're going to see who the next Doctor maybe is. Not. So yeah, I really liked it.
And I can just tell Lee is dying to talk. But let's go to Brian. Let's see what Brian had to say. What do you think? What are your opening thoughts, Brian, on this episode? You're muted. There you go.
Well, what I thought of this episode, let's see. I thought of this episode was really good. I really enjoyed this one. I thought like the whole storyline and everything like with these weird monk creatures was pretty interesting. I mean, the whole three-parter itself was good, except for part two. Part two was shit. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This is absolutely, I think, out of the part three story, I think this part was pretty much the best one, I would say, in my opinion. Even though it's pretty much the last part within the story. But yeah, I enjoyed it. the story was good. And the characters in itself were good. Like Dr. Bill and Naldo, all three of them were good. And the guest appearance by Missy. I honestly, I love Missy within this episode. I think it's like pretty much the best that we ever seen Michelle Gomez as Missy. Because honestly, from a viewing standpoint within Doctor Who history, with the Doctor and the Master now / Missy now with their relationship, seeing her within the vault, seeing like with her in the vault, like now that she's in this prison vault, it seemed to me, and like with this, like with her first scene, it seemed to me like when she was getting, like the Doctor was getting all the information about the monks and everything from her, it seemed to me that they're turning Missy not good, but like kind of like an in between, like in between character, like not good nor evil, like kind of like I would say more like I guess like an anti-hero in a way. And I kind of found that to be a little interesting. But you can still see that there's I mean, like you could still see that there is the Master a little bit in there, but seeing that scene, like it kind of, to me, she's that scene, to me it felt like she was being genuine, and she want, like she's trying to be good and everything, but not in a way that the Doctor wants and appears for it to be. So when I saw that scene, I thought she was kind of like an anti instead of like an evil villain. But then again, on the other hand, this is supposed to be the Master, like the Doctor's equal. If you're looking from that standpoint, it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to mostly be like that. The Master and the Doctor, like going at odds with each other. So if you're looking at that standpoint, mostly supposed to be like that. But then at the other scene with Missy and the Doctor at the end, didn't really look like they were being she was going to be an anti-more. So is Martha going to turn her good? Is the Master going to be good now? Or should I say Missy? So between all of those two scenes with Missy, I mostly that both of them were just good, just the best, because Michelle Gomez as Missy, awesome. But yeah, the general standpoint with the story, the
house tour time.
No, the general standpoint with the story was good. I honestly loved this part, like this part 3, and with the story, it was great. I absolutely loved it. The only thing I would have to be, well, it's not really a complaint, mostly confusion. When Bill shot the Doctor, and it looked like he was about to regenerate. Did he? I was confused. I was like, did he waste the regeneration energy, or was that just fake? I don't.
We're going to go more into this. Don't worry. We're going to go more into this.
Yeah, I know. But when I saw that scene, I wasn't sure if that was fake regeneration energy, or was it just or did he just waste the regeneration energies when I saw that scene? So, but yeah, but overall, like I said, this episode was great. I honestly loved it. I think it's one of the best parts within the 3-part story. 'Cause
Is it one of your favourite episodes of the series then? Is it one of your top episodes, is it? Or
top episodes, yes, but not a favorite episode of the season, because I'm gonna have to see the rest of the series. So,
yeah, but so far, I mean, I'm not on about ones you can't judge ones we haven't seen.
yeah, I guess. I mean, hey, I mean, if between Capaldi's Doctor and Aaron Missy and it's all good. So,
but your point about Michelle Gomez did say that she's going to be good for a while and then do something really bad, didn't she? She gave an interview to someone saying she was going to be good and that she was going to do something really bad. So anyway, have you finished, Brian?
yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll give my rating one where
Yeah, give it afterwards. Yeah.
When we're just about wrapping up here, I'll give the ratings. So I'll pass it along to you, Alex.
And I'm going to pass it on to Beef Dad, because we're going to Beef Dad next, see what he thought of Lie of the Land.
Curate's Egg for me. It was good in parts. They got a fairly good balance of comedy and serious, which wasn't too bad. Matt Lucas doing light relief as usual. Paul Mackey's performance was excellent. I would definitely go along with that. Peter Capaldi showed his range as an actor. And I mean, Brian's gone on at some length about Missy, but the actual showing of emotion by Missy was done brilliantly by Michelle Gomez. That really was superb. The last scene with her talking about remembering all the people that she'd killed, with tears running down her face. That was pretty emotional. It was a tug at the heartstrings and absolutely not what you'd expect from the master stroke Missy. And hopefully not what we're going to end up with, because that would just be so wrong. That would be just so wrong. Even at the moment, it's not right. It doesn't feel right to me. But yeah, the rest of it wasn't too bad. Yeah, I suppose I enjoyed it in the main.
And let's go over to Lee. Yeah, let's go to Hull and see what Lee has to say about this episode. This is going to be very interesting, so I hope everybody is sitting down. Check you're sitting down. Susan, are you sitting down?
I'm sitting down. What can I say? What a waste of 3 episodes. They could have told this story in one part, to be honest. It's each episode. This episode forgot about the last episode. Nothing was mentioned about the virus, the epidemic. Nothing was mentioned about Erica. She's totally forgotten about. I don't know. It's the only good thing about this episode for me was the TARDIS team, Nardal, Bill, and the Doctor. The acting from those 3 people was just out of this world. Pale Mackey with her speech to the Doctor, it just blew me away. But apart from that, it was, I don't know, it just washed over me. It wasn't as good as, I liked last week's episode. I think I gave last week's about 7. This one wasn't as good as last week's episode, but I did hate the first part of this. But it's, I don't know what they're doing. They had 3 different writers. Moffat wrote the first part. Moffat and someone else co-wrote the second part, and Toby White wrote The Lie of the Land. To me, it didn't seem like any of these 3 writers conferred with each other as to what they was writing in the stories, because there is plot holes in this trilogy, and that's unforgivable in this day and age. Is you just sat there thinking, was that it? What about this? What about that? As the shall we say, the fake regeneration, I know Alid felt cheated on that.
Yeah, definitely. And what happened to the simulation, Lee, from the first episode?
So that I was just going to get the simulation in the first episode. Pointless storyline. The Veritas book never mentioned again. As I say, Erica was never mentioned from last week's episode. The virus was never mentioned. What else was there? Oh yeah, the regeneration. The Doctor was blind for 2 episodes of this trilogy. I
want to make this point. So the Doctor, the Doctor was blind. Yeah, the Doctor was blind. He was blinded in oxygen. Yeah, blinded in that episode, and then he's unblinded in the last. You know, the monks cure him in the last episode. You know, pyramid at the end of the world, and then that equals to this. That equals to this because the monks cured his blindness, because, you know, Bill made that deal with them. However, there's a problem, because this episode showed a fake regeneration, and it showed the energy. So that means Peter Capaldi can use regeneration energy whenever he wants. So why didn't he use it to begin with to cure his eyesight, his blindness? Why didn't he just use that? Then it never would have been a problem.
Bad writing.
Never would have been a problem. Never would have been a problem. This whole episode is absolutely pointless, because
not have been a problem
with one thing, by Capaldi using the regeneration, because now it's just proven that he can reuse it to heal himself whenever he wants.
Yeah,
I want to heal himself.
I want to add on to that. I mean, I thought they. I mean, to me, I thought a Time Lord could only use regeneration energy, and the time the regeneration is accessed is from when they.
Like with David Tennant when he regenerated his hand back after in that first story. Yeah.
I thought it could only be accessed from when the previous body is injured or dying. I didn't realize. I mean,
because they've changed the rules. They've changed, and this is the problem with New Who, is that they keep changing the goalposts. There's no grounding to this show anymore. They just make it up as they go along. Oh, we'll have somebody who's a superhero now. Oh, we'll have 2 people who are immortal.
Isn't a show about a time traveler in a?
Yeah, but Susan, I mean, you still have to have
open up the floor to.
Yeah, but no, wait there, hold on. You still have to have grounding. You still have to have grounding to any show. Classic Who had grounding. It did. This New Who doesn't have any grounding. They just make it up as it suits them, as it fits them, and then they just go, "Oh, well, we can't do that again now." But well, suddenly we can do it here now. It's like pulling Clara out. He goes to Gallifrey, and there's another point I want to pick up. For a start, Missy, he says to Bill when he's with Missy, "We're the 2 last of the Time Lords." But no, you're not, because Gallifrey's back. What on earth are you talking about? We saw it in last series. What is he on about? We saw it in last series. He goes, "We're the 2 last of the Time Lords." No, you're not. The whole Gallifrey is back with the Time Lords. You were there. You went and pulled Clara out of, through that doorway when she was dying. And that's a question. you know, going back to this is a problem I have with New Who, like I say, is that why doesn't he do that with any other companion? Why doesn't he go and pull Adric out? You know, why does he?
He did. They did pull Adric out in the Big Finish audios. I mean, it has been. There is, yeah.
New Who just makes it up as it goes along, as it suits itself.
All Doctor Who seems to do that. I mean, Big.
Yeah, but you just can't shove this stuff in now.
That are like bonkers like this.
You've got to have. I mean, to me, it does. It's bad lazy writing.
Exactly, lazy writing.
The home of what's for. Also, what was I going to say? The monk, as Brian mentioned, and everybody else, and Susan mentioned, similar to the Silence. You never found out. You never found out what they were really doing, and then they just up and left.
Yeah, they just disappeared in a magic wand.
It was metaphorically, it was the reset again, which I find so annoying.
Third time this season. Third time
this season they've done a sort of a reset, and it's getting boring.
Not only that, but what I don't understand, and actually it was my brother that pointed this out, and when I rewatched the episode just before doing this cast, Missy says that this fake news, if you will, let's call it fake news, because and she says it's transmitted, but because the Doctor works it out by the statues. So why didn't the Doctor just go around destroying the statues for a start? He could have destroyed one statue, and then the people around that area were, knew the truth, and then he could have destroyed another one, and people around the world could have finally started destroying statues. But why didn't he do that? That would have weakened their grip, the monks' grip, because the statues were transmitting. Yeah, the main transmitter was the pyramid. I understand that, but he could have destroyed other statues as well. None of that. And where were the monks? What on earth were the monks doing in this? I mean, in the last episode, the monks were made to be all powerful. Now, you're talking about a race that, when the bomber came over to bomb the pyramid, which it obviously didn't, but the monks swapped in place with the people on that plane. So why didn't they do that when the Doctor was driving the boat to go and crash into the thing? And why didn't they use the pyramid to lift the boat in the air, or lift something in the air? Because that's what they did last episode. They were made out to be all powerful, like they were pulling things into the sky, putting things on the floor, just with that beam of light. But you never saw that in this episode. So they weren't that powerful in the end, were they? And the simulation, like Lee says, well, if they're that clever, they were testing how it would go. They know the threat of the Doctor and Bill, but yet they just let Bill wander around as a normal person. I mean, they even come face to face with Bill at one point. How did they not recognise her? How did they not recognise Bill, Lee? Do you remember when they're on the boat and the monk walks up to Bill and the monk doesn't, And then why is the Doctor trying to trick Bill? Well, oh yeah, I just don't get it. It's just lazy writing. And I think Lee's froze. However, the acting was good and the effects were good.
Okay.
Lazy writing.
It isn't lazy when it's just a story, It's they told a different story. Yeah, they told the reset button story a few times.
Yeah, but the monks were meant to be powerful.
Yeah. Powerful and forgetful, apparently.
And they just let the Doctor and Bill swim round, yet they did it. They were doing loads of simulations.
Stuck in the pyramid, remember?
Yeah, but they were doing loads of simulations to try and conquer Earth and things like that. And they knew the threat of Bill and the Doctor by doing the simulations.
Okay.
They knew the threat of Bill and the Doctor because the Doctor had already outsmarted them in the simulation.
Okay.
So you would have thought they'd be more prepared.
Okay, so
They weren't prepared at all.
okay, so are you saying that that they couldn't have forgotten that Bill was really the linchpin?
Yeah, well, how didn't they know who Bill was? How did that monk deliberately let Bill go to the Doctor then?
Okay.
Maybe that monk was working for the Doctor. I don't know. They didn't explain that.
Then maybe it wasn't that they were all powerful. Maybe they were just like as powerful as Bill's mom. Bill's mom saves the world.
Yeah, but we saw them with the energy beams and things in the last episode with the pyramid with the energy beam lifting a submarine out of the water. But they didn't do anything.
Bill's mum saving the episode at the end is just exactly like the Rings of Akatan with Clara's mother's Leaf saving. Been done before.
Yeah,
it's all been done before. New Who is copying off itself a lot.
Well,
so do you wish it was copying off Classic Who?
Well, Classic Who was a bit more original than New Who.
well,
I wish it was just I wish it was original and not copying and copying.
Alex said that it shouldn't be copying off anybody.
Well, the actress that played Bill actually
was in the 50th, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I recently just found out that the actress that plays Bill's mom was in the 50th, one of the Time Lords.
I just felt there was a lot of plot holes in this, and for what it built up, it just didn't hit any of the marks. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's good dialogue in it, and Bill is absolutely amazing in it. I mean, Pearl Mackie is phenomenal, really, truly phenomenal. And so is Peter Capaldi, and so is Michelle Gomez in this. They play it brilliantly. But the story itself, it was a letdown. And, it was a cheat with the regeneration. It was just thrown in there just to show it in the trailer, in the Series 10 trailer that we got before Series 10 was out, and we saw. That's all it was in there for. That is bad writing. Trying to trick the audience is bad writing. That is bad writing. That's all it was. It wasn't there to trick Bill. It was there to trick you.
Yeah, I mean,
bad writing. That's the difference.
I mean, it also seems they may have been villains or malevolent, but again, you didn't even have even 2 examples, so there really wasn't much to even get mad about because you didn't see, except for killing the soldiers, you didn't see them do anything else. You don't know where they came from, so it's sort of like they might as well been mummies or something. It doesn't. They look like mummies anyway, but you know what I mean. But it was kind of like, well, okay, we have a villain, but it's not even half of Davros. Or at least with Davros around, you felt like you had a character. You felt like there was a motivation of mind there. You know what I mean? This one, it was just like, oh, let's just set up a riddle. And then I already knew it was going to be blanks. I knew Bill wasn't going to shoot the Doctor. And I also knew that he wasn't going to regenerate, of course. So, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, guys, are you writing this for people that are fans of Doctor Who, science fiction, or are you just writing it to see how many people tune in? And
I mean, how did the Doctor know that Bill was going to shoot him?
Yeah. Bill wouldn't have shot the Doctor. I don't.
How did he know? How did he know? How did it? Yeah, how? Yeah, out of character. I mean, it was also out of character for the Doctor to use regeneration. But how did he know to get all the people to use language? How did he know she was going to do that? It's just totally. The writing is just awful.
And the monks didn't even speak.
Well, no, they spoke, but it was more like just to set up the riddle. That's all.
They didn't speak in this one. Yeah. But the problem is as well is this shouldn't have been a three-parter. This was clearly meant to be, I would say, a two-parter at best. And they looked at extremis, and they thought, oh, we'll just throw the monks in there. We'll just throw the monks in there, because it doesn't match up at all, really. I mean, I could understand it. Maybe they should have ended it. I would have preferred it if they did bring the simulation back in to round off the story. Maybe they could have trapped the monks in the simulation. They could have trapped the monks in the simulation. They could have been in the real world, but they could have trapped the monks in the simulation, just to round it off, or brought back the Veritas in the story, just to round it off, just to connect the parts.
Yeah.
But it's
maybe that's the problem, is that they don't want to connect the parts. That way it can be rewritten again if they ever bring them back. They just go, oh, well, here, we finally came up with a villain that's a villain, but not really, and we won't explain it, so we can just keep rewriting it.
Well, the writer of this story was Toby Whitehouse, and he did last season. He did what was it?
Before the Flood, wasn't it?
Yeah, Before the Flood. That was a good episode.
No, but at least with that villain, you had a little bit more motivation as to why it was done. Not much, sadly, but it was a better explanation than the monks.
And they were gone very, very quickly. They just flew off and went. I know there was some scenes cut from that last bit, but still, you've got to go on what is shown. You can only go by what is actually shown in the episode that you see. So they went way too quickly.
All right. So okay? Now the other thing too is what is it? Bill's mother saves the world. I mean, even though I thought it was cute about the subroutine, and obviously they had to come up with a solution. Otherwise, everybody's, trapped in the room forever. But, I mean, except for sort of the Star Wars comparison with Anakin and Luke, it's like, okay, it's cute, but it's not, again, it's still not good writing because, I mean, what is it, blind? It's pure luck? Or the doctor knew but didn't realize, and then the other part that was good was it was sort of like Sarah Jane and the Doctor of, why do you put up with us humans then? But it's kind of like, okay, it just kind of feels like they're trying to do 5 different stories at once, which would be good if they explained it. And they're just not explaining it. They're just going, let's try to wow them, throw everything up on screen and see if it sticks kind of thing.
Anybody else have anything to add?
The whole trilogy is just so loosely structured.
Right.
Exactly.
It's and each one discards a thread from the previous one, and it doesn't work really. It's almost an insult to the intelligence of the audience. It has annoyed me a bit. So I say, there were some excellent performances, but you cannot make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
Well, as I tried to mention before, I mean, is it for non-fans? Is it for fans of science fiction, or is it for fans of the show? And I think it's more for non-fans. I think they're just trying to wow the audience and hope everybody tunes in, I guess.
Yeah, but the thing is, by such loose writing, I mean, they're not going to encourage new viewers, because all it's going to succeed in doing is confusing the people. And they say, well, what happened there? Why hasn't that been sorted out? What's happened there? Why hasn't that been sorted out? What did they actually learn from this simulation that they did? There is so much that's unexplained when it comes to the end, that I feel a bit cheated, shall we say.
There's just no payoff, I find, in a lot of New Who. There's just no payoff. You don't feel like, that's a proper conclusion. it tends to be rushed, or and the power of love thing. Okay, I get it, but we've had it quite a lot in New Who, haven't we?
Yeah.
The power of love.
Yeah.
Go on, Alex.
But I mean, it's how can I say it? It's that was one of the things. That was one of the essence of the classic Who that I liked, was that there was a payoff. There was villains.
Exactly.
There was a direction that the characters were going. Okay, so the special effects weren't that great most of the time, but at least I felt like, okay, the characters are defined. Now they seem to be undefining the characters. They seem to be doing the opposite.
Exactly. That's my point as well. Is that I just don't feel like, and this is for all of New Who. This isn't just this episode. I feel like we don't get proper villains. We don't get once upon a time, the Cybermen were new. The Silurians were new. The Sea Devils were new. These classic monsters that we all love. The Zygons were new. But I don't feel like New Who just ever hits that note. Never hits that note of, creating real new classic villains, if you get what I mean. New classic villains. I think the monks could have got there. You muted, Beef Dad. The monks could have got there, but they've let them down.
Yeah, but I can't 100% agree with you, because I mean, yeah, you had the witches in the Shakespeare one, and that was a villain that was obviously a villain, and they were basically destroyed at the end. And as for another new one that they had was the creature in the Satan pit.
The devil, yeah.
Yeah, there have been new ones that have worked and that have been, it's all been sorted out. And you've had decent endings.
I would like them to bring the Sycorax back.
To be perfectly honest, I think one of the big problems is that the writing went downhill after Tennant. And, it continued during the Capaldi era. So yeah, there's been a drop in quality on the writing.
Yeah. Anyway, Dan's here. Have you seen the Doctor Who? Have you seen Doctor Who yet, Lie of the Land?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, what did you like about it?
I kind of liked how it started, where all the monks, they were already there, and they were there for a few months, but they kind of put it in people's heads that they were always there since the beginning of time, and and it was all because of Bill, because Bill, she gave them consent and stuff because she wanted to save the Doctor. The Doctor would have died if she never gave them consent. So I guess, yeah, he, and all that stuff. So also, yeah, it was everything was pretty good. I just loved it. I loved the way it ended too. The monks just got thrown off the planet, but yeah. Hey, did any of the monks die, by the way?
One died. One was on the floor in the pyramid, which is a shame.
Yeah, one of them died. One of them died, but I thought he just got up and ran away or something.
No, he was just lying on the floor, wasn't he? I think he died.
Oh.
I think he did. I think he died, yeah. I've watched it twice. I'm pretty sure one did die, yeah.
And also, what about that? Okay, did Bill actually shoot the Doctor, or was that a blank?
Blank.
Because he was regenerating. I thought she actually shot him and he was regenerating.
Oh, because he can use his regeneration at any time now.
So he just wasted it. He just wasted a bunch of it.
Oh.
So like I said to these guys before you jumped on, he could have healed his eyes all along with the regeneration energy, because he could have just summed up that regeneration energy during oxygen, after his eyes were blinded.
Yeah.
That's all it needed to do. See, that's the big plot hole. That's a huge plot hole.
But that wouldn't have been as dramatic, you know. That wouldn't have been. It would.
Exactly. Thank you. They did it just to trick you. Exactly. That's all they did it for. They did it just to trick you. It wasn't to trick Bill. That's what really annoys me.
I honestly thought he was going to regenerate because from the trailer, from before they even aired this episode, they showed him they had the scene like where he's in that room and they showed that him looking at his hand and the regeneration energy was coming out. So I thought that this was going to be it, like Capaldi doing his.
Yeah.
Even.
And another thing, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, Capaldi wasn't able to shut off the thing, but Bill was.
Oh yeah, no, but that was because of her mother, because her mother and she was the connection to the real world, wasn't she? She was like the, you know.
And then
I do understand that bit. I get why the mother was the one that was the clue to it all. And it did build that up. It did build that up. And I should have seen that coming, really, because the mother was in the first scene with Bill at the beginning.
Yeah.
But maybe the mother should have been in the last episode and the episode before that, too.
Yeah. And I like Missy being in there and you know, her saying like the doctor saying, "Oh, have you defeated the monks before?" And say, "Oh yes, of course I defeated the monks." Like you're not the only one who goes on adventures, you know. And I'm like, oh, so she's been on a lot of adventures too. We haven't seen. That's pretty cool. So she has a TARDIS. She must have a TARDIS somewhere, or unless she used a vortex manipulator.
Of course, the Master has a TARDIS.
But we never saw it.
The Master has always had a TARDIS.
The Master's always had a TARDIS.
You don't have to see it.
In the classic series, it was showing on TV that he had a TARDIS, but in New Who, he's not had a TARDIS that we've seen.
If you watch more of Cressida Coup, then you will be able to see that Master had a TARDIS.
So, does anybody else have anything to add on Lie of the Land?
And nobody remembers that? Nobody remembers what happened? That's just
no. They do remember what happens. They just choose to forget. That was the point in it. They remember. They just choose to forget, which I don't really buy. To be honest.
Well, if they've done that in the past with previous Doctor Who, with previous New Who episodes,
This is what we're saying about them repeating themselves all the time.
Because mostly the previous Doctors before that, like Smith or Tennant or whatever, they've mostly their doctors said the same thing as well. Human race chooses to forget of what they've seen.
Mm-hmm. Did anybody actually notice that Donald Trump was in the episode?
What?
Yeah, on the screen.
He was in the pyramid on the screen. Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Brian, he was.
You can see, yeah.
I watched the episode.
No, he was in one of the little triangle things.
He was in it.
Was it? I didn't even see him on the screen.
Yeah, it might have been 3 seconds, but he was in it.
It was 3 seconds. Yeah, it was 3 seconds, but he was there in the background. You could see him very clearly. He was in it, honestly.
Weird.
Well, he's the king of fake news, isn't he? So he's got to be in it. I mean, he's got to make a cameo. So, but I have to say, I did love the inside of the pyramid and how they did the screens and things like that. I thought it looked very impressive, and I did like the look of the prosthetics of the head monk. I did think he did look visually good. He did look visually. I thought this episode actually looked visually good as a whole, and the acting was great. So it's not all bad. It's the writing for me, and it's the fact that it's a letdown, and it's a bit of a cheat. But like I say, the acting is absolutely top notch in this, and Nada was brilliant as well.
Yeah, I just got one thing to add, and it's mostly a question if you guys could answer.
Go on, then.
Is the vault that Missy is in? Is it is it Time Lord technology?
Yeah, it's got the Time Lord symbols on the door, isn't it?
Okay, because it's kind of because the reason why I ask it's like the TARDIS. It seemed to me like kind of like a TARDIS thing, like it's big on the inside and it is on the outside.
That could have been her
Well, we
TARDIS.
don't know how big it is on the outside. We don't know how big it is.
Yeah, you did. You saw it floating in the water over.
Exactly.
Oh, of course we did. Yeah, you are right. No, you're totally right, Susan. Yeah, I need to drop my microphone.
Even I
We
remember
did
that,
see it
yeah.
You are right.
But and also from when we saw like the inside finally, from when we see Missy in that, it kind of reminded me of Paul McGann's TARDIS from the TV movie.
Yeah, where would Missy have put the pony?
I don't know, but I love the fact that she asked for a 3D printer, a pony. Don't answer that, Lee. Don't answer it. I was just going to say there is actually a kind of a callback to the TV movie in there. There's kind of a callback to the TV movie in there, isn't there? Have you seen? Did you notice it?
What is it?
It's the eyes, the faded eyes on the screen.
Faded eye.
Reminded me of the TV movie with the eyes at the beginning. And Missy's eyes were faded. You know, when the doctor and that were outside walking wherever they were.
Doctor was narrating at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
I have to say, to be fair, it is better on second watch, simply because you haven't got high expectations for it, you know. Because when I went into it first time, I had high expectations because I love the first two parts, and I've loved this series so far. And I thought this episode, I thought it was going to be good, but it just really went completely the opposite way for me, which I didn't think it would. But like I say, the acting's good and all that. So does anybody else have anything to say? Otherwise, we're going to final say and score. Ice Warriors next week as well.
Yay, Ice Warriors! Yoo-hoo!
Yeah.
Victoria would have loved the Ice Queen.
Yeah, that's true. So let's go to final say and score. And let's go to Alex and Susan before Alex nods off there. I can see Alex.
Well, yeah, as again, somewhat belaboring the point, but yeah, I think they're probably doing it for the people that aren't fans. The cinematography has been great this year. The TARDIS team has been great this year. They've sort of given the Doctor more to do, like he should be, and he should be the star of the show. But as far as the stories, I'm not really sure they're real science fiction. They're sort of based or maybe sort of an homage, but it's not even the good homage of the old classic Who of Doctors 1 through 7. I'll still be watching it. I've always loved Doctor Who. Hopefully they'll give Bill a good ending, or maybe she'll come back. I don't know, at the end of the year. It's a shame Capaldi wasn't given another year. He kind of lost 2 years, actually. And he should stay because he's a great actor. But hopefully the BBC will stop with the hiatus and whatever else they do. And I don't know why they can't respect the audience and write a really thorough story with great characters, a great villain, and an actual real hypothesis and thesis about science fiction. It seems all sort of science fiction-y, basey kind of thing, and then we'll touch on an idea or we'll touch on a villain, but then the story will end so we can bring it back next year. And okay, I understand that it's a TV show, and it is a TV show, but Big Finish seems to write better, and the books seem to write better, and they have more characterizations and more train of thought than the TV show. Hopefully they don't cancel it again. But I am getting a little worried that it's getting a little too showy. That maybe they're trying to make it into a movie sort of thing, and they don't have a great story behind it. I'll still give it a 10, but that's basically for the cinematography and acting, not for the
what
story.
about it as a whole? What about the three parts as a whole? Because obviously they're meant to be one episode.
I mean, it is a nice try, but it seems very showy. It seems very, let's just try to hook the audience in with Flash, as opposed to having a really good story like from Troughton or Pertwee or Tom Baker or even Peter Davidson, even though he had a few two-parters. But at least you felt like you had characters. You didn't have enough time to explain the characters, but you had characters. And then they go to the other extreme with Colin Baker, Trial of Time Lord, where there's too many stories. So it's sad in a way. The BBC loves it but hates it, but they can't seem to make up their mind and stay committed to how to, keep the series and keep the actors. And, so it's a little sad. I'll give it a 10, but it's begrudging. It's.
So, Susan, rate Lie of the Land. Give a score for Lie of the Land, and then give a score for, as a whole. Three parts as a whole. Yeah.
Okay. I will rate The Lie of the Land as a 9.5. Good story. I am not disappointed, but I do concede that these arguments that you guys have made, eloquent as they are, have me kind of thinking now. But I'm really loving.
I don't want to stop your enjoyment of it. I don't want to stop you enjoying.
No, I'm really loving this series, and I really love what's going on the screen. So the last three altogether, I'll give a 9. All told, it's really good.
And let's go to Brian for give us a score for Lie of the Land, and then the three parts put together.
Oh, me?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, there's only one of you.
Thank God. Could you imagine more than one of Brian? Kevin, it isn't worth the thought, is it? If it could you imagine them talking together? They'd be like, hey, Brian, guess what I bought?
Okay, let's see. I'm probably gonna rate this episode probably 8 tortoises.
Wow, you're not holding back. Yeah, but what about the parts as a whole? What about each three part put together as a whole thing? What would you rate it? Because you didn't like episode 2, did you? The second part.
Episode 2 of the part 2 of this three-parter was other shit. It was complete.
Yeah. So what would you rate it all together?
Hold on. He didn't like the first part.
Didn't he like the first part either? So what would you rate it all together?
Wait, was it the? I thought it was
Extremis was the first part with the simulation. Then you had the laboratory one was the second part with the.
I thought it was the second part I didn't like.
Yeah, second part I didn't like that.
It didn't. It was the first part because he wasn't on last week's episode cast, so it was the first part where he was calling it shit all the time.
No, it was the second one.
He wasn't on last week's.
Was he not? I'm sure he said it. Oh no, it was who didn't like the second.
No, Lee, you're right. That's right. Sorry.
Aha.
You're right. You're right as much as you're right as much as Howard is. Sorry.
Okay.
That's right.
So what would you rate all three parts together?
Part 3 I liked. Part 2 I liked. Part 1 was shit. That's right. I remember now. Okay. So I guess rating it as a whole,
Yeah, just a score. Just give a score.
I guess I probably would have rated mostly 5 tortoises. 5 tortoises.
5. All right, then let's go on to Kevin. See what Kevin has to say. A score for Lie of the Land, and then a score for the parts combined.
Well, I enjoyed this episode. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for Lie of the Land. And as a whole, I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, that's fair enough. And let's go to Dan. What would you give Lie of the Land, Dan, if you're there?
I would give this a 9. This was a really good episode. I liked it. It was really cool.
And what would you give all 3 parts together?
I would give it a
if
10.
You've seen all 3 parts, that is.
Yeah, I would give it a 10. All 3 parts would be a 10.
Oh, a 10. Oh, wow. And let's go to Germany with Beef Dad and same again.
Well, as I've said, there were so many plot holes, so many threads lost between each episode. I love the performances in this. And because I enjoyed the performances in this, it gets a 7.5. But as a whole, because of all the gaps, all the lost threads, all the things unexplained, it gets a 6.
And let's go to Hull with Lee Wilson, also known as Ray and Dr. Who.
Oh, gosh. I deny it all.
Is that what you said in court?
This episode.
Think about it carefully.
Well, you know, I didn't like Extremis, and that got a 3 off me. I preferred the Pyramid, and that got a 7. I think I gave it last week. This didn't like as much as Pyramid, so this is going to get a 5.
And what as a whole? What are you giving each 3 parts as a whole?
There's a lot of plot holes. The only thing what made this trilogy for me was the damn good acting. But it's just the bad writing what is letting this down. I'll give it a 6 as a whole.
A 6, that's fair enough. That's higher than I thought you were going to go, actually. For me, Lie of the Land was disappointing, considering I liked the other 2 episodes when I first watched them. And Extremis is just completely pointless now. Just completely pointless, really. There's no point watching it. That would have been better if it was a standalone episode with different villains. So I think I'm going to give Lie of the Land... do you know what? I'm going to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a 6. And the only reason I am giving it a 6, because really I shouldn't be giving it a 6. If it wasn't for the performances, I would not be giving it a 6. Because I thought the regeneration scene, well, non-regeneration scene, was just a kick in the teeth. And there's just too many, it's just a massive plot hole. It just leaves a massive plot hole why the Doctor didn't use it to cure his eyes in the first place, which this episode would be absolutely pointless. It wouldn't have happened. So this episode is kind of a waste of an episode, and so is Extremis, because it didn't match up with this episode.
Yeah,
so yeah, all my scores are going down for this 3-parter, simply because this was so bad that I can't give the others higher than a 7. So I'd give the other parts a 7, and I'd give this a 6, and I'm going to rate this overall. I'm going to give it a 5 overall, because it is a bit messy and there's plot holes and it doesn't match up quite well. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me. I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more crazy videos like this. And don't forget to tell us below what you thought about Lie of the Land, because we'll be really interested to hear. Lee does read all the comments, and if there's any members of the cast you don't like, then we can we can easily get rid of them. They are disposable, and so,
What?
anyway, hit that subscribe button. Look after yourself. Take care, and we'll see you next time for some Ice Warrior action with Doctor Who.
Bye, everybody.